Hello, class. For those who don't know, my name is Jeffrey Trapp. I'm going to be talking today. I'm going to be doing the visual presentation portion of the profiling someone. I was sick with COVID and I was put in isolation for over a month. And I have been taking the time to catch up and I've been working on figuring out what I want to do, what I want to say. Since I was out, I wasn't able to get a classmate to profile. So with that said, I'm picking someone else, and I decided to go with my father. Long story short, I was given up for adoption at birth, and I had a very hard childhood growing up with adopted parents that were abusive until age 13, and then I was thrown into a group home, and I aged out at 18. I recently, about 2 years ago, found my biological parents, and I moved from New York, where I grew up, to here to Arizona, and this is where I've been ever since. I decided to profile my biological father because he as well had a very traumatic childhood. So the theme of my presentation is going to be trauma, more specifically childhood trauma, childhood abuse, and how it impacted you as a child and him as a child and him as an adult. And so that's going to be the big theme of my presentation. I spoke to my dad. I asked him a couple questions. I have them right here. The first question is, what was the main thing that sticks out to you when you were growing up as a child? And he talked about how, let me just make sure again. He talked about how his dad was very abusive towards him. He would hit him. He would be verbally abusive. He would also abuse his siblings. And I asked him, I'm just trying to keep track. I asked him, of that thing that he remembers most as a childhood, how has it impacted him as a child? And he told me that it made him very introverted. He was very to himself. He would find places to hide out for hours. And he said he used to tinker with different electronics, taking things apart. But I forced him to be very to himself, very quiet, very subdued, and somewhat antisocial, I would say, from what I gathered from speaking with him. I asked him how this also impacted him as an adult, and he talked to me about how for the longest time he didn't pursue his dream. His dream was to go to MIT and work in robotics, and he wasn't able to realize that. His dad kept saying he wasn't smart enough to go to college. Interesting side note that ties a lot into my situation. I am currently on my last semester. This is my last semester before I transferred to ASU. Actually, I already live on ASU campus, but I'm transferring full, and I'm in a transfer program with them, dual enrollment transfer program. I am currently starting this fall going to be ASU full-time, and it's 2 years until I get my bachelor's. The reason I bring this up is because I always wanted to go to law school and become a lawyer and be the voice that I never had, be the voice and advocate for others that don't have a voice. And I was never able to go to law school. After leaving the group home, I didn't have much resources. I lived on my own. I struggled with poverty and homelessness and wasn't really able to do much. I had tried college, but it didn't work with having to work full-time to support myself. And it wasn't until I came home to Arizona that I had the ability to go to school. So like my father, he was explaining to me how he too wasn't able to realize his dream until a little later in life. Much later. I'm 25 and I'm in school. He's just turned 50. And about, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, he started doing robotics. He built a fully automated robot, and he was explaining to me how he took all the pain and suffering and trauma from childhood and he put it into this robot. He said it was very rewarding, obviously, but it was rewarding in another way as well. And he said it was extremely rewarding to be able to prove to my father, his father, that I was in fact smart enough. And even though he had passed away, it was still some type of, what was the word to use? Semblance of I told you so. So I can understand how that could be very cathartic and very therapeutic. My next question I had asked him was if you can explain a little more about how he went about dealing with trauma and as an adult. And he said it wasn't easy. He definitely didn't handle it the right way. And it took him a long time to figure out the right way to deal with it. And he said that's why it was very rewarding to get me back so he could do all the things that he missed out on. So I'm definitely going to go into more context and more depth with the written portion of this project, but I just wanted to introduce myself, let you know what I'm working on, and I hope that covers everything and gives you a better idea of where I'm at. So thank you, I appreciate it, and I look forward to going more in depth with this in the next few days. Just as a note for the professor, I made this video a few weeks. It's now, this is, from when I uploaded it today, it's a few days back, but I've been working on this for a while now.